Hey everybody, welcome back to part 8 in the styling authentication views for device. And previously we installed our theme in part 7, and this is the theme that we installed. And if you run this server, you'll notice that this is running. So what we're going to do now is basically grab this nav bar here without the sidebar. We don't want the sidebar on the left, but we do want the nav bar, and we don't want the search to be there. We don't want those two little tiny icons with notifications, but we do want the name here with the avatar, and when you click the drop down, you should see the profile, edit, or log out. And obviously, when we're not logged in, to be able to log in, the two buttons says log in and or register. So we want to do that. That's what we're going to do in this part here. So what we're going to do, come back here to, I'm going to try to race as fast as possible so that, let me close all these. I'm going to try to race as fast as possible so that I don't have to waste a lot of time on HTML. So first things first, I want you to open the Start Bootstrap theme. I'm opening it with Atom. So grab the folder, drag it over to Atom. And what I want to do is to basically grab a couple of things first. But previously, on the previous part on Visual Studio, if we go to App Views, Shared, App Views Layouts, application.html.aob, we actually pasted the whole entire thing here just to test. That's why we're seeing all this, is because we pasted it in application.html.arb. So what I want you to do is grab the wrapper, not the body. Leave the body alone. Grab this wrapper here, drag all the way down to the bottom, and just before the notifications, we want to delete all this stuff. We don't need all this stuff, okay? These notifications are ours. So just come to the bottom of this division and hit the delete key. Now over here, I'm going to put the render, because that's what we had before, render shared /nav bar, like that. And that's going to show our partial file. So that's what we're going to do. All right, so, but before we do that, of course, we need to do something else. Come back here, and we need to leave the body alone, just grab the ID page top, okay? Well, here, we can do it now. ID page top. We don't even need the ID page top. Leave that alone. Just the wrapper, okay? See, this wrapper, we need this wrapper. We need this wrapper, and this sidebar here is problematic. I'm gonna drop this, collapse it. As you can see here, I'm collapsing it. We don't need the sidebar. Don't delete it. Just leave it alone, because this is the index.html. If you want to delete stuff, make a new file with all this content in it. So leave the sidebar alone. I collapsed it, and here we have the content wrapper. Okay, the content wrapper. We need the content wrapper, and we need the main content. So grab the body here, the body wrapper. Grab it anyway. Okay, come to Visual Studio, and we're gonna just replace this body because the other body has an ID. So replace it. And what I want you to do is hit the tab key. Grab the wrapper and hit the tab key once, like that. Okay. Another thing I want you to do is I also want you to grab all this and hit the tab key once. So that way it's nicely placed. Come back to Atom and forget the sidebar. Grab just this and that. Nothing is collapsed here, okay? It's just, we're just grabbing those two divs, okay, with all the beautiful IDs and all the pretty column classes. Copy that. Come back to Visual Studio Code, and after the wrapper, hit the Enter key, and hit the Enter key again, and do a tap once and paste it in. So make sure everything is lined up. I'm going to hit the tab key here. And the ID main content, of course, needs to be indented one more time. Hit the tab key. The render, including the notifications and the yield, needs to be also hit the tab key to indent it once and twice. There you go. So we have, let's start closing everything. These things do not need to be closed. They're fine. But if you hit the Enter key here, come back, close the content division, okay? Do a div like that, okay? Close the content division. So let's close this one. This one is closed. Copy this, come back, hit the Enter key again, and the backspace key. Close the content wrapper, okay? And then you want to close the division for the wrapper itself. Okay, the whole entire wrapper, hit the Enter key, backspace, paste it in, and then the body closes on its own. Okay, so I'm going to put some spaces in between these so that, my God, put some spaces in between like that. So that's how it looks. Let me lower this down. That's how it looks. Okay, so the body is closing, the wrapper closes, the content wrapper. Okay, so now time for the nav bar. So I'm gonna do a save now. You're gonna notice something is not gonna look good now. When we come back here and we refresh, you're gonna see like, wow, what's going on? There's nothing. It's just gonna be our normal nav bar that we added from Bootstrap in the underscore nav bar shared file. Perfect. So come back here to Atom, and we're gonna grab their nav bar. Okay, so we're gonna grab their nav bar, but there's gonna be a lot of unnecessary things we don't need, like the notifications and the search bar and all that stuff. So let's just collapse this nav bar. No, this top bar here where it says top bar. Collapse this here. So collapse it. And that's all we need for now. Copy that. Come back to Visual Studio Code. Open shared folder in the views and click on navbar.html.arb. Select all of it. Select with Command A and then hit the delete key and paste in what we copied. But when it's pasted, it's going to be pasted really ugly. So select from the bottom, scroll all the way to the top, highlight everything to the top, and come back to nav, the end of nav. Hold the Command key with the left curly brace and bring it back to normal, make it look nice. So let's do a Command S to save, come back to Chrome and refresh. Okay, perfect. So now we have this nav bar, but we don't really need a lot of things. So first of all, we don't need the search, we don't need the 2 notifications. Okay, let's just remove them now. So come back to Visual Studio Code. So let's take this one by one. Everything here makes sense. This is like background white, nav bar expand. So the shadow, the nav bar, this is all Bootstrap classes. Sidebar toggle. So this is going to trigger the sidebar that we already had on top of this, which is supposed to cover everything. Just remember this, we're gonna need this in the future, okay? But for now, we won't need it, okay? So I'm gonna just grab this and I'm gonna remove the sidebar toggle top. And remember this top bar search bar form, we don't need it. Grab it, delete. And then nav bar, this is fine. This is the unordered list. That's the unordered list of all the okay. Search dropdown. That's the search dropdown. So that's whenever it's smaller, in smaller screens. See visible only in extra small. So we don't need any of this. We don't need this here for sure. We don't need it. Okay, we don't need this. We don't need that. And sure enough, if you do Command S and you come back here and refresh, you're not gonna notice anything. Well, you're gonna notice the search is gone, but you're not gonna notice anything because that was only supposed to be visible when the screen was like this, and the screen is like this now, and it's not. Doesn't matter. Come back to Visual Studio. We have nav bar item drop down, no arrow. Okay, so this is the alerts. Okay, so I'm gonna make this, minimize that. This is all the alerts here. So this is the nav alerts, which shows a badge with danger +3, as you can see here. That's what that is. Okay, so I want you to remove that. We don't need these alerts for now. We'll use them later, but that means we can come back and get them later. So I want you to collapse the list item here. It's the first one, collapse it. We don't need this nav alert, and we don't need the messages, which is right over here. This is the mailbox. We can collapse the list item of messages, and we don't need messages either. Okay. So we have nav item user information. Yes, we need Valerie Luna. That's come back. So do a Command S again, save, come back to Chrome, refresh, and you're not going to see any of that. So now we need this. Let's just come back to Visual Studio, and as you can see, our nav bar is a lot smaller. Okay, now I'm going to collapse this. I'm going to collapse all this user information so that it's easier to work with. So basically, this is all the user information. And on top of that, we have a divider, which is right here. That's a divider, which is basically this divider right here. And also we have in Visual Studio Code back here, we have the main nav. Okay, now we need to add a logo, right? So if you come back here to Nav Bar and just search nav, go to getbootstrap.com /docs /4.5 components nav bar, and you type in nav bar. Here you'll see like all the nav bar info. So if we want to grab, let's say, this logo right here, so this logo right here is inside of, it's this here. Okay, so grab this anchor tag, come back to Visual Studio, and right after the nav division, just paste it in here. Okay, so here we call it like pet adoptions. Okay, save it, come back to Chrome, refresh, and there you go. There is your logo. So we're gonna obviously replace it with an image. Come back to Visual Studio. Come back to right over here. And next we actually want to grab another division with a nav bar. Okay, so we want to put a div with a nav bar. Okay, so let's grab this here, because what this is, we want to grab all these. Okay, I mean, I can just do it now, but I want to show you how to get it. Okay, so you want to do it this one. This here, it says collapse, because if it's a smaller size, it's supposed to collapse, right? Meaning, like, if it's in mobile, you actually have to collapse it. So we're not going to use the collapse, but we're going to grab all this. Okay, we're going to grab. So this starts here, and it ends there. Okay, so let's just grab all that and come all the way here. Command copy. Come to Visual Studio Code, and after the logo, we're gonna paste that in, and hopefully paste it beautifully. So it pasted beautifully. Now the collapse part, the reason why I'm gonna remove collapse for now. The reason why we have collapse is because when it becomes to mobile version, and this ID we don't need, this is supposed to trigger show the sidebar, the collapse menu. So we're not gonna use collapse. So if you do Command S to save and come back to Google Chrome and come back to localhost 3000 and refresh, you're gonna notice all these links, like this drop-down link and all that. So there we go. There is all the things, and of course in SBadmin, if you come to SBadmin, you can use all these different. If you click on, there should be. I guess they don't have any typography, but yeah, so you could, like, you see it's a free theme, so there's no typography. But if you click on dashboard, there should be some typography. There is no typography. That's fine. What can we do? We'll work in our own classes. Okay, so localhost 3000. Here's what we need, and if we make this smaller, it's going to look really ugly. So for now, because we're not working on the navigation, right? This is about integrating views. Okay, so we're gonna just remove all these links here. We don't need that, and we don't need the pricing. Okay, we're gonna just leave 2 list items. So first, this is no need for this span, and we don't need navtam. This is the active one. Command S to save, come back here, refresh. The active one should always be a little brighter, but this is not working because we're working with a theme. We'll work on it later. So if we come back here and we do this, everything looks nice. Okay, so this is what we need right now. That's what we need, and I could have done this from scratch. It's easy. Look, everything is easy here with Bootstrap, but I just don't want to focus on HTML right now. So once we've done all this, we want to do the sign up page and the login page. Okay, the sign up page. Oh, hang on a second. Okay, so the sign up page and the login page. If you look at the sign up page and the login page in SBadmin, you're gonna click on pages and click on login or register, for instance. Let's do register first. So register doesn't have a nav bar on the top. So this means that if I was to come here and type in users /users/ sign up, sign underscore up. We are going users sign up. You'll notice that we're already signed in. Okay, I see. So because we already created users edit. Hang on a second. /users /edit. Okay. Now what I'm gonna do now, because I'm already signed in, I'm gonna I'm gonna just come back to pgadmin and I'm gonna delete a user. This is something else I wanted to show you guys. I'm gonna delete a user, and I'm gonna grab this user here. Now, in case you're wondering how to delete a user, so you're gonna grab this here and click on delete. And once you click on delete, you have to click the save. And the save, this is not the save. The save is right here. This one here. That's the save. Okay, so you want to click on that. And now it said data saved successfully. So if you come back to pet adoption here and you type in users new, users sign underscore in, you're going to notice that you can log in. Now, this doesn't make sense because if you look at the SB admin, it's actually a lot prettier because it has no nav bar on the top. Now, this has a nav bar on the top. So how do we change that? How do we put a nav bar at the top? So we come back to application.html.erb. So in application.html.erb, which is, so this nav bar we don't need anymore. In application.html.erb, we're saying like, look, render this shared nav bar. So that's a problem. That's a problem because we only want to show it for users who are signed in or users who not signed in, as long as they're not going to the sign in page or the sign up page. So we want to show it to everybody except the ones who are going into the sign in page or the sign up page. Okay, sign up page and login page, we don't want to show this navigation bar. Okay, this has nothing to do with this here. This is just everything to do with the view and how we look at the view. We want it to look like this. And we can do this with content 4. You can come to Ruby guides. And guys, this tutorial is about teaching you programming, or at least the very basics of how to build an application. It's not about like building something on the fly, building something like really fast and quickly. So I just want to show you where you guys can get all this information from. Now you can do this content 4. So this would be something like rendering. Do Command F and type in rendering. Come to the very top. Okay, so render. Just type in Rails, Ruby on Rails guides, Ruby on Rails guides, rendering, just like that. Okay, so if you do layouts and rendering and Command F, do a content underscore 4 using the content 4 method. So you see how earlier when I said in the here structuring layouts, understanding the yield, like this is where the yield comes from. Okay, so if you ever want to figure out what's this yield all about, because this yield says like whatever other views you got, show it under this. You know what I mean? So that's just, so it's kind of hard to explain, but you just kind of have to read it over. And same with the understanding the yield and also the content 4. So using the content 4, using the yield. So if I click on the content 4 method, here it'll tell you that, hey, in case you have this view or this controller and this action, show, so if you have a page that says like the About Me page, then you want to show content 4 About Me page, which is the head. I want it to be About Me page. So you want to put about me title, about me meta tags, about me, SEO stuff or whatever. So you want to understand the content 4 information, and then it says, look, so you know what I mean. But in our case right now, in showing the nav bar, it's not really necessary because we're gonna just go off to Plato with doing, or Mars or whatever in doing a bunch of things that are not necessary because we're building an app too, right? So over here, I'm going to do like, you can do many ways. There's many ways to do this, but I'm going to use the unless statement, and I'm going to use the current page with a user session path and a registration session path. So if you do a rake routes, you'll get those paths, okay? So what I'm going to write here, I'm going to do an unless statement. I'm going to do unless. So unless the current page, okay, current underscore page, and you can type in current page in Rails, what it means, okay? And you'll get all the information there. So unless current page, and here I'm going to pass the new user session path, new underscore user, because we got this from devise, right? New user underscore session underscore path. So unless, okay, so I'm going to explain to you what unless means. Or, okay, the two pipes, or current page, and pass in the new underscore new user, new user, yeah, always new user, underscore registration underscore path, okay, new user, okay, so these two. So we don't, when you're trying to log in and you want to register, these are the paths, okay? You can do rake routes and look it up, all right? Right on terminal. Stop the server, do rake routes, and do that if you want. So unless, what does unless mean? Okay, so I'm going to grab this, hang on. I'm going to grab this shared nav bar, and Command X to cut it, and I'm going to paste it in here. So what this means, I'm going to make this look a little better, okay? Okay, so make sure the syntax is correct. There's no equal signs here, okay? The equal signs is here. So what this means, unless, okay, it means, like, just think about it this way. Think of Mark, right? So Mark, so I'm going to give you an example. Unless Mark goes to school, give him a chocolate bar, okay? So unless Mark goes to school, give him a chocolate bar. It means that so I'm telling you, like, look, if Mark goes to school, if Mark, unless, okay, so unless Mark, so consider this the chocolate bar, okay? So give Mark the chocolate bar. This is like the reward. Like, we are always going to show the shared nav bar, unless Mark, okay, let's just forget the school part. Let's say menacing, okay? Unless Mark is menacing. So unless Mark is menacing, give him the chocolate bar. So whenever you think of the unless, if you're ever confused, just think of like menacing Mark, okay? So unless Mark is menacing, give him the chocolate bar, because it means that if Mark is menacing, don't give him the chocolate bar. But other than that, always give Mark the chocolate bar. So what this means is always give Mark the chocolate bar unless he's menacing, and this is the menacing part. So unless Mark is menacing or unless Mark is rude, give him the chocolate bar. That's the way to remember unless, okay? Gosh, I don't know, maybe I confused you further, but it makes sense, right? So always give Mark the chocolate bar. That's why unless in programming is really beautiful. It really, it shows, it doesn't take long to process it, the unless statement. Like, because it says, like, it's not like if, else, what. Like, this is just, look, always show the shared nav bar unless the page is this and the page is that. Unless the page is user session path and the page is user registration path, which is basically, you could do this in any pages. Like, you just say controller and the action. If unless the controller is this, the controller is pets and the action is new, do that. So you can Google this, okay? So that's what I'm saying. So I'm going to grab this also. I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to make it also for the footer, because we don't have a footer. So, and I'm going to actually, you know what? Forget the footer for now. I'm going to confuse you guys more, and I'm sorry for doing that. So I'm going to do a Command S to save this just like that, okay? I didn't put a footer. There's an unless statement with a render shared nav bar, and then there's the yield, okay? Normal, everything is normal. Command S to save. Come back to Chrome. And refresh this page. There you go. So look, login is super easy. Okay. Now, if we do sign up, so the nav bar now is not showing, sign up, and hit the enter key. Again, there is no thing. So perfect. So we got that done. All right. So now that we got that done, let's come here back to Atom and grab the footer. Okay, because we want a footer. Okay, we want a footer, and this is the logout model. Forget that. Why is there a logout model anyway? So come to the footer. Okay, grab this footer. If you can't find it, Command F and type in footer. You don't want to waste time looking and scrolling for things, right? So grab the footer from here to here. Okay. I'm grabbing the comments too. I mean, you don't have to grab the comments, but you should grab the comments because it's easy. So grab the footer. Geez, we don't need the comment. Anyway, since we started with doing comments, I'm gonna put the comments. So grab the footer, come back to Visual Studio Code. Inside the shared, create a new file and call it underscore. All partial files are starting with an underscore. All partial files, okay? Underscore footer. .html.erb, and HTML means it's an HTML document with embedded Ruby inside it. Hit the enter key. All views are HTML.erb. So in here, paste the footer, grab this, hold the command key, do the left curly brace like that, Command S to save. And obviously, we're going to render the same thing. Come back to application.html.erb, and do we do the same thing? Yep, let's do the same thing, make it nice and clean. Copy that. No, we don't need to do the same thing. So render, do that. Path is going to be shared / footer. Like that. We don't need to put the underscore here ever. Whenever it's a partial file, you just say that the underscore means it's a partial. So that's why it's called footer. Okay, so Command S to save it. Come back here, refresh. So you're going to see a footer now here. Oh my goodness, look at that footer. Look how ugly that footer looks. So how does their footer look like? Because they don't have a footer. That's why they don't have a footer. Anyways, let's just remove the footer altogether. Come back to Visual Studio Code, remove this footer, and let's just delete this. We'll work on the footer later. Click on the footer, Command A. Jeez, why is the footer like that? I know why. Come back to Atom, and this footer ends under the content wrapper. Under the content wrapper. And if we come back here, the content wrapper. So this footer ends right after the content wrapper. So it's after the content. So the footer, let's hang on a second here. Okay, that's the content wrapper and the page wrapper. So the footer is right above the content wrapper, inside the content wrapper. Come back to Visual Studio Code. And this is the content. I think because this footer needs to Command X this, let's put this right there. Save it, come back, refresh. Okay, so this is terrible. It's terrible. Anyway, so let's just not render a footer for now. We'll work on it later. We'll call it part whatever, improving the footer. Save it. Let's come back here. So that looks, oh, okay, I see, because there is no content. Okay, never mind. So this page is always white like that. Okay, I got it. It's okay, we'll put it later. All right, so come back to registrations.html.erb. Let's close this shared layouts. We're inside of views. I'm gonna close this footer, it's unnecessary for now. Application.html.erb we don't need. So come back to layouts, devise and registrations, new. That's where you register, the register page. Now you see this here. What I want you guys to do is I'm going to make this small, larger. And now over here, please, you see this is the register. just have a quick look really fast. We're not going to change anything. The only thing we're going to do, we're going to grab everything that you see here and we're going to add it onto the template. So inside the sign up, I want you to click on the sign up at the very top and hit enter, 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 just to give some space. Okay, and now that we have some space, we're going to put here our HTML that we got from the template. Now come back to Atom, and I want you to do a Command P to find register page. Okay, so register.html. That's there. It's right here. Register.html. So in the register.html, we have under the body we have a container, right? So I see. Okay, so we have a container here. Okay, so that's fine. Okay, so we have a. Now I'm just trying to make sure that we don't mix things up. So the card hidden, create account. Okay, let's just grab all this. I just collapsed it, just so you know. This card, hidden, border 0, this here, right under the container, I'm gonna collapse it. So collapse that, and again, that's a trick. Just grab it like this, okay, and then uncollapse it. So you scroll down to the bottom, there you go, there it is. Or you can just grab it from here, okay, and I think that's it. You just gotta follow these lines in parallel. Follow the lines. Copy. Come back to Visual Studio Code. Paste it in. Now make sure it looks good. Come back to the second last div. Command left curly brace. Save it. Google Chrome again. Come back to localhost 3000 in the sign up page and refresh it. You should see two things. So first, you're gonna see the create account, and of course we're missing a container. Just like here, we didn't add this container. So let's come back to Visual Studio Code. Obviously, in here at the bottom is the Ruby on Rails work that came with devise, and here we need to make sure this view looks good. So come back over here, and let's collapse this and grab that and hit the tab key. And then at the very top, hit the enter key, put a div dot container, hit the tab key. Okay, now this is bad. Make sure it's like that. Put another div. No, I don't want you to do the autocomplete for me. And uncollapse it again, save it, refresh. So now, perfect. So now it has that, but is it the same as the components, not pages, and the login? Yeah, that looks pretty good to me. That looks pretty good. Okay, so the sign up. All right, so let's get started now with all the signups and everything. Okay, I guess not. All right. Okay, no problem. We're gonna do it in this tutorial here. Since it's 33 minutes, it's not a problem. So, all right. So I'm gonna go grab a coffee. I'll be right back. Okay, back from coffee now. We are back from coffee. Okay, so now that we are back from coffee, let's come to Visual Studio and let's go to navigation so that we can allow that if you're signed in to show this, but if you're signed out to show login and log out. Okay, so we want to show this here if we're signed in. Okay, so what we're gonna do first, let's first build this here, the path. So we have a profile, which will be user edit, and we have settings. We're gonna leave that alone. We're not gonna put anything in activity log, but we're gonna put the logout path. Okay, so we'll come back to nav. Let's do layouts, not shared nav.html.erb, and right over here we have this collapsed. So profile, now we need to put some paths here that are gonna make sense, right? So we need to put the logout path. So in this part here, let's do the link to, and we're going to do the delete user session path, and we actually need to put a method, because if you do rake routes and you find that destroy user session path, it's going to show that there's a method that we need to add. Okay, so there's definitely going to be a method there. So let's just do a link to link underscore to link underscore link link, and do the tab key. Oh boy, I guess not. All right, so link underscore link to. Just select the link to, and here we'll do we'll use what they used here, which is logout. Right, so we're gonna do logout, and inside the path it's gonna be the destroy destroy underscore user underscore session underscore path. Okay, so if we use the destroy user session path, we definitely need to mention the method. So to mention the method, we have to say delete here, and it shows that in the rake routes, and that's all we need to do. But we do need to put some classes, because here this drop-down item, the logout drop-down item, does have classes, and the class is a drop-down item. Okay, so we're gonna grab this so we're gonna do class, and then drop down, drop dash down. No, it's drop down dash item, like that. And that's it. And this data toggle model, we don't need that, because this is just supposed to trigger a model, and I don't know why we have a model there. We didn't copy a model, so a modal. But here there's also a link. There's an icon that is inside of that, right? So in order to do that, we're not going to be able to do it. We can't put this icon here. Of course, we can do HTML. We can add HTML here. But instead of doing that, we need to just remove this logout, okay? So link to destroy user session path, method, I forgot to put D, method delete, and then we have the class. And then here we're going to say do. Okay, and if we do a do, that means we have to end it here. And inside of here, we are going to add the this here. This comes first. This comes first, remember? It comes first. And then below it, we're going to put log out, like that. Log out, log out, like that. So we can just remove this here. Okay. So let's do a command S to save it and come back here and refresh this page. And you'll notice now if we hover over logout, it will say sign out, user sign out. And it's going to work because we do, if we click it, we'll automatically successfully signed out successfully. So if I come back here to, so now we've signed out successfully. Okay, but it's still there, and that's fine. So let's continue now with, right, so let's do a users sign in. And I'm going to type in Mike at gmail.com. And here I'm going to do Mike123. So I'm going to log in now. Okay, so now the next thing we do is the user edit path. The activity log, I'm going to leave that empty for now. But in the profile, here I'm going to say, actually I'm going to leave that profile empty as well. Here I'm going to say edit profile, or in the settings, okay? Edit profile. Let's call it, let's call the profile edit profile, okay? So edit profile. So we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to do a link to, okay? So do a link to link underscore to, and we're not going to put anything here in the text because we're going to do a do, and in the path we're going to do user edit. I think it's the user edit path. Oh, is it the user edit path? It's the user. I think it's the edit user registration path. Okay, so it's edit user registration path, right? Edit underscore user underscore registration underscore path. So it's edit user, edit user registration path. Okay, and and we need to put the class. So the class is going to be, what's the class here? Drop down dash item. So drop down dash item. And then we're going to do a do like this. And here we're going to end it. And inside of there, we're going to do edit profile. And we need to add also the icon user. Okay, like that. And we're going to remove this here. We don't need that anymore. There. Put a space. Okay, save it and come back here, refresh this page. And if we click on this and click on edit profile, it's going to take us to user edit. Okay, so we have the user edit and we have the logout. Now these two are going to be empty for now. We don't need them there, but I'm going to leave them for there. Leave them for now. Anyway, we can just remove them and get them later so we don't confuse ourselves. Okay, just like that. We can remove them and then do Command S, come back here, refresh, and edit profile and log out. All right, so what else do we need? We need to be able to show this nav bar if we're not logged in. So if I click log out right now, I want to hide this nav bar and put just two buttons side by side. So if we come back here to our thing here, we see the button here, the generate report button. And we can actually look at buttons. If we click on components and we click on buttons, you'll notice that there is these buttons. So log in and log out, but they don't look too good. So let's come back to Bootstrap and type in and then look at the login, log out. Perhaps there's these ones here. But I don't really like those, to be honest. And I think we can make the pretty ones like this here. Like this one here, this generate report thing. So we can copy that, inspect, we can just do inspect like this, and this is, then right click and edit as HTML. And we can just grab this here. We're gonna copy this here, okay? Come back to Visual Studio Code and we need to make sure that this drop-down menu, including this whole thing, this whole user information thing, only shows if the user is logged in. Okay, so I'm going to collapse this whole entire thing because we know this only shows when the user logged in. And then we need to come back here and paste that in here, this generate report thing. And I'm going to remove this icon. We don't need this icon there. Okay, save that and then come back here and then we can refresh this and you'll notice that there, I see. Okay, so we do need to grab inspect. We need to grab this is the container. No, we need this is it here. Justify content between, and then here and that. So we need to grab this here. Copy that, copy these classes here. Okay, I just double clicked on that, double click. Okay, so grab this class right there, or you can just come here and then inspect element. You can do a edit as HTML and just grab this first line right here from here to the end, just this line here that you see. Come back here and let's wrap this button here inside of tab key here so it can look pretty, and then close this division div, close the div. Okay, so we have this, Command S to save. Let's see how it looks now. Come back to pet adoption, refresh the page. Let me put the charger in because I'm gonna run out of battery. So this still doesn't look good at all. That's okay. So that's fine. What happened if we put this here? Copy this. Let's delete that and come over here and paste it in. Save it. What would happen now? Okay, it would be on the top, right? And okay, no problem, no problem. Let's just do a Command Z. Let's just leave this as it was here, and let's just work on the logic first. Okay, so if the user is logged in, so we need to do user signed in. That we get that from devise, right? Command F, user underscore signed in. This one here, verify if user is signed in. Okay, so let's grab this here and come back to Visual Studio Code, and let's put some logic right here. I'm going to collapse this again. Okay, so we want to put this logic here. Okay, this is the Nav Bar divider. Let's take the Nav Bar divider. Okay, Command X this, and let's put it here. Okay, so here we have the sign in like that, or register. Okay, so let's do, yeah, sign in, copy, and register. Register like that. So we're gonna do an if-else statement. Okay, so right here we're gonna do if-else statement. Okay, if, and then we need to put an else. Okay, so if the user is signed in, we came to devise this copy user signed in, copy that. So if user is signed in, so let's do that here, put it in, and we're gonna put this inside of brackets, okay? Inside of brackets, so if the user is not signed in, yeah, so if user is not signed in, we are gonna show sign in and sign out. So I'm gonna just remove the spaces here. Okay, if the user is not signed in, show this. Okay, if the user is not signed in, show, I'm gonna just do it indent here. Show this. Else, we are gonna show grab this collapsed. Okay, Command X. Else show it here. Okay, let's grab this top list item to the bottom and do it, indent it one more time. Okay, and then we need to grab this divider and then come back here and let's put the divider on top, because the divider has to be there. That's for the little profile, the little avatar. I'm just gonna remove some of the space, white space. Okay, so save that. So this logic is important because it says, look, if the user, this exclamation mark means if the user is user signed in, like is the user signed in? So this means not if the user is not signed in. Okay, so save it, come back to Chrome, put adoption, refresh, and so obviously now we're not signed in. So if I click sign in, obviously we have to change these buttons. But first I want to make sure that we're doing this right. So we can actually just put regular buttons, believe it or not, instead of using these buttons here. But I wonder, like over here, how did they put these? They put them inside a grouped. Yeah, so that's a form inline. And what classes did they use here? Okay, so that's fine. So we want to just make sure that we have something in a row where like we can actually add this instead of the button, right? We can add those here. So we can do, we can actually use those instead. Inspect, edit as HTML. No, that's way too much. See, that's the problem with not getting a paid theme. That's not cool. So we can grab, yeah, let's just try to grab those here. Inspect. If we grab this whole thing, that won't make any sense. Edit as HTML. Okay. So if we do this, paste it in, do that, come back over here, put adoption, refresh. Yeah, so that looks pretty good to me, but it still doesn't look good. So let's just add the two buttons like Bootstrap tells us, and then we'll style them later. Okay, so this is the search here. We got the search there, right? So let's just grab those buttons. Nav text with inline element. Okay. So the nav text with inline element, this one here, nav text, right? Or we can add the buttons. Search, where is the search? Where is my nav bar with button? This search, that's a form. I don't want the form. Okay, so we have these buttons here. Nav bar lights, form, and then we have a button. So that's main, and then we have a smaller button, right? So we can do the difference between these two is BTN small. So it's the BTN small. So let's just grab this, copy, and come back to Visual Studio, and let's paste that in here. Let's see how one looks like. Save it, come back to Chrome, hit adoption, refresh. Okay, that's the smaller button here. And the reason why it's up there, inspect, the elements, the reason why it's up there is because of this here, the margin bottom 4. So we just got to remove the margin bottom 4 and do that, like that. Just like that. Just so remove the margin bottom 4 and we just do log in, log out. Okay, so margin bottom 4, we don't need that. And let's grab this button, copy, and then paste it again. So sign in, or we're going to do register. And remember, the button with our link to, it's going to be just a link to, just a link. We're going to just put the button classes. Okay, so we need a space in between. So how did they do the spacing between the two? The spacings that they did is, let's see. Come to Bootstrap. Let's come back to Bootstrap. Okay, and they didn't even put a space. So I forget what's the space in HTML. Okay, here. How did they do it here? The search. We can do a margin left 3. But then what we're going to do when we have, that's just bad practice. So let's just put space in HTML. space in HTML. So I think it's this one here. No breaking space, less than, greater than. Yeah, that's space in HTML. Come back here and we can do that. Save it, come back, refresh, and here we have 2. Okay, so for now we're gonna do that because I don't want to do I'm gonna double it. I want to use the right, do it properly because on mobile it's gonna have to look differently. Okay, so register and sign in. So let's do primary, button secondary, outline primary, and then grab this, put primary here, save it, come back here. That's the thing about full stack, you know, you have to kind of do everything front and back. So, and we don't want the outline. So btn primary, we don't want the outline. Save it again, come back here, refresh. Okay, sign in and register. Okay, we're good here. We're gonna work on the nav bar later. So if we are, no, so let's do that. Link underscore to. Okay, so link to, we're gonna do sign in, and we need to path the new underscore user underscore session underscore path. And we need to put the classes, class. So let's copy the btn small primary, copy that, come here, oops, like that. And we don't need this anymore except for this here, okay? We don't need this button, the top one. Put the 2 spaces here. And then we also need another link to, so we're gonna copy this, just copy that, and then paste it in, and we're gonna remove this new user registration path, new user registration path, okay? That's it. So that, save that, come back to Chrome, refresh, and sure enough, oops, here we need to put register, sign in, register, and instead of sign in, let's do login. Login like that. Save it, come back to Chrome, refresh. So register and login. So I'm not logged in right now, and obviously in my PG admin, if I come to, always have your PG admin open, users, and then view all rows. You'll notice here that we have Mike, okay, with the ID too, because I deleted my old user and I have this. So come back to pet adoption. Now, if I click on register, it's going to take me to the sign up page. Okay. Now, if I click on already have an account, I want to log in, you see in the bottom left corner, user sign in. Now it takes me to the sign in, okay, without the nav bar. Now, if I type in Mike at gmail.com and I type in Mike123 and I click login, you'll notice that I'm logged in, and we need to change this to current user. Okay. So let's come back and put this current user. We don't have a username yet because remember, when we sign up with an email and a password, and we're not adding any full name. So we are going to come back to Visual Studio. Let's just put the email, the current user email. So we know that we have a current user. Name we don't have, but we have the user email. So we current user and we have an email. So we can come back here, basically say the current user and get the email. This email right here. So come back to Visual Studio. Let's put some, let's put inside the name, instead of the name, look. So let me do Command Z. So instead of Valerie Luna, because this is just static HTML, okay, I'm going to delete that there, and I'm going to hit Enter. And inside of there, you can just do it like that. So we're going to do that like that. And we're going to put the current, I think current underscore user dot email. So that should work. And basically that's the same thing like doing this here like that. So like that. See, instead of the name, we put this. Okay, instead of the name, we put current user.email. So if we save that, so come back to pet adoption and refresh, it should be the email name. So it'll be the email name, and then we have to put the current user.avatar when we add the avatar. Because when we log in with Facebook later, we'll show the Facebook avatar. But for now, we don't have an avatar, and we don't have a full name. So mike@gmail.com. That's logged in, and I'm going to log out, and I'm going to log back in. If I click login again, I can say Mike at gmail.com, and I say Mike123, and I click login. So that's going to log me in. So now we have done the registration. So if I log out again and I click register, I'm here, create an account. So all this pretty much same as login, okay? Because the same exact thing, the only difference is logging in. Now, how do they have it here? When we click on the pages, login versus register, it's same exact thing. And let's look at the register page. So open link in a new tab. That's it helps a lot. Click on pages, login, open link in a new tab, and register, open link in a new tab. Let's compare them side by side. So this is the login, and this is the create an account. Okay, that's fine. I suppose we can just copy paste. So this is the login. So come back to Atom, and I want you to do Command P and type in login.html. So on the login.html, we have a container here. So yeah, we're gonna grab everything from the container to the end of the container. Okay, we don't want to just grab that row. Here they're adding big gradient primary. That's okay, we don't need that stuff. So you see what I did? I collapsed the container. So just here, collapse the container. Grab this, okay? If you highlight it and then uncollapse it, you'll notice that it grabbed this whole thing. Okay, so copy that, come back to Visual Studio Code. And now if we want to log in, for the login, we need to actually come to sessions, okay? new.html.erb. Again, we're going to do the same thing that we did previously. But anyway, so yeah, we can do the same thing. Come back here, okay, paste it in, make it look good, okay. Hold the command key, curly brace, okay. So over here, so how does this view look now? Let's save it. Come back to pet adoption, the localhost 3000 sign up. Let's click already have an account, log in. So that's how it's going to look. At the bottom here, that's our Rails, our device information. And so we'll come back. We can just put login and then the email and everything. So sign up and forgot password, very good. So login is super easy, we don't need that. The form 4, just grab that. Grab all that, Command C to copy it. And let's find the form and replace it with a form. And just make sure you put the class there. Put a class like that. Make sure it's user, because that's what it was. Put a comma, don't forget the comma. Follow the form down where it says form, and then put end there. And what else do we need? So we have the email field. So we have an email field. So that's all we need to know, is that there's an email field. Okay, and then we have a password field, and then the remember me checkbox, and we have the login. Do we have a remember me checkbox here? Yeah, we do. We do have a remember me checkbox. Okay, so remember me and login. So the email and password, and come back here. It's an email and a password. That's all it is. Okay, so welcome back. The form 4, in the input here, and we have a placeholder. Okay, so let's come do a link Actually, let's just grab the email field here. Copy that. Why not just grab it to eliminate error? Just gonna come to the end of this. Actually, in the view here, you can, yeah, okay. So let's paste that in. Email field, let's grab all the classes, copy, and ID, we don't need any of that. The placeholder though, placeholder we can add. You can add the placeholder in here. Same thing, we just remove instead of equals, just make sure it's there, like that. And delete that, and the password field is exactly the same. Copy that, and then replace it, paste, and then email field instead of password field. Is it password field? Yeah. So password field, and we're gonna put password. Autofocus true, autocomplete password, autocomplete. That should be, I don't know why we have this autocomplete. I think autocomplete should not be there, but I don't know why we have that, but see, here they have autocomplete current password. Let's just do that. But I will add some JavaScript to remove it because we might have this problem with auto-completion. And then the placeholder, your current password. Your current password. Or your password is enough. Save it. This remember me. Checkbox, remember me, if device rememberable. Let's grab that. Let's find the remember me part inside of here. Okay, so and just put some space so we can breathe and see what's happening. So so here we have so we put this, I think personally I think we put it in the wrong spot. So Command X, just come here under form group instead. Okay, and we're gonna grab this custom control Command X's, that's the HTML, and we want to replace it here like that. So now the input, we're gonna grab this input and put it here, and label, and put the label here. Okay, so that we don't change anything with HTML. We don't have to work in HTML. All we're doing is we're integrating devise with HTML. So we need to indent this like that. So just make sure everything starts and closes like that. So the input field, we have here type checkbox, class, custom control. So copy the class, come back here, and let's put the class, oops, the class in, and the ID, I don't know, but I think this custom check, we don't need this ID here. Okay, and we don't need that. So we already did this. Now the label, the F label, remember me class. Let's grab the class for custom check. Okay, so copy that. Again, sorry, sometimes I use single quotes, sometimes I use double quotes. I mean, I prefer single quotes, but if you see me using double quotes, it's the same thing. So just remove this. Okay, so now we have this remember me field. This field here it came from Rails. It came from devise. So we don't need that field because we already have here our own custom field. So we can just remove this field and remove the bottom end division. It closes it, and then hold the command key and hold the command and the left curly brace to bring it back. Save it, right? And we also need to do the login, link to login, because here we are in the, we need to add the submit, the F submit, right? So let's grab this, come back to the F submit and put the class, grab this class, and copy, and go like this, class, single quotes or double quotes, doesn't matter. The login is already here. Let's remove this now. And login with Google, we're gonna leave that empty. Forgot password. Okay, so forgot password field. So we're gonna do the same thing as we did in the registrations. So just grab the forgot password field. You can just grab the whole thing. Actually, I already have an account. Register, we need to grab these two. Okay, the forgot password field, just right under the HR. Okay, come back to the new sessions. So we want to replace the forgot password and the create an account right under the HR. Okay, so right there, Command V. Okay, so you see what I did? If it's confusing for you, just here, this is what I did. Oops. This is what I did. In case you're confused with anything, this is how it was initially. Okay, so just come back to registrations and you can just grab this one here. Grab it one by one. Copy that, come back to new in sessions. And all you gotta do is the forgot password part is this link here. Link to forgot password, new user, password path. And here is come back to registrations and copy this. You don't have to copy, but I'm just doing it copy paste now because I don't want to make any mistakes. And so there, the class is already small, right? And instead of sessions, we have new user. It's the new user registrations path. So new user registrations path, right? What's it? Yeah, it's new user registrations path. Not the edit, not the destroy. It's a new user registration path. So copy that. So new user registration path, just like that. Okay, save everything. We have the remember me, we have the submit, the shared links we don't need because that's what it is for the login and forgot password and the register. And all we're gonna do now is just grab everything here and delete it. So come back and that's how it looks, just like that. Welcome back. Let's change it to login. Save it, come back to Chrome, refresh the page. There, so we got sign in. Now I don't like this here. I don't know why there's so much spacing. That's okay. So we'll work on that stuff later. So we have a login here. So if I type in mike@gmail.com and Mike123, and I click remember me, and I click login, it's going to sign me in. It's going to sign me in and it's going to show me here. If I click log out, it'll log me out. If I click login again and I say mike@gmail.com, and the remember me, it's not going to work because I disabled it in Chrome. Okay, so there we go. And if I want to edit profile, I'm going to be here. So we have to change the edit profile. So let's come back to SB admin and see what they have for the edit pass the user profile if they have one. Register, they don't have a user profile, so that's too bad. That's really too bad. User profile page. That sucks. Profile. They don't have a user profile. So let's get a user profile page. All right, I'm gonna take a break. Let's do this in part B because I'm gonna have to prepare and make a user profile page out of this UI here. Okay, I'll see you guys in part 8B. This is part 8A. I'll see you in part 8B when we finish the registration and the forgot password pages. Okay, guys, thanks so much, and see you in part 8B to finish the edit user and forgot password. Okay, bye-bye.